Well, let's get into things, shall we, since we're all here. So I'm going to quickly begin off with some session 0 things, just make sure we're on the same page for line the veils, introduce characters. Oh, Rhyme, have you chosen a character yet?
No, where are they?
Ah, so, if you're, no, you're not in the Roll20 game. Let me quickly get a link to
Yeah,
that.
I'm trying to add, you sent me a link. I'm trying to add it, but it
Hmm,
doesn't, I don't know why I can't join.
that is bizarre. I mean, no, Roll20's been a little bit funky today, just a little bit laggy and whatnot. Yeah. Let me toss it into Discord, see if that one will work for you. And yeah, it's willing to work for me at least. So it should be happy enough to accommodate you. Well, I hope. Yeah, in worst case scenario, I can just share my screen and then see how far I can go off memory.
And your name is Frank, correct?
Yeah, Frank, Golvin, GM, DM, keyboard. The list goes on by quite a while.
Depends on how
But
well
yeah,
we're doing in the adventure, I suppose.
that is fair. That is fair. Yeah, basically, as long as I know you're referring to me, you're good. Since even before I began DMing and whatnot, I collected quite a variety of nicknames for one reason or another. Couldn't
Got
really
it.
tell you how, but I did.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, the link in... Oh, actually, I should probably ping you so that's a little easier to find. Hmm. That should take you
But
right to the game. Hmm?
I still have your Blade Runner one. I just, for some reason, this one isn't working. I don't know why.
Huh, that is really funny. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. I mean, I can either just say to 0 and you can leave, or alternatively, we can just have you go through my screen, since, well, I can share my screen, to be more exact. That's really, really odd that it's not working, though, because it's willing to work for me. Yeah, and just click the one in the Discord and it'll pop up. That's so weird.
Let me try this one more time. I'm trying with a different browser here.
Yeah, it might help. Ah, yeah, I am so sorry that this is...
Hey, there it is. Okay,
Okay,
got it.
oh, that's good. Yeah, Yeah, that is so weird. I have no clue what is going on with
Space.
Roll20 in that case. But
Because
whatever works. Oh. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, let's actually get into things. So, if you go down from the cartoon explanation point, you will see just a summary of what exactly we're going into for the session 0 bit, and this will take like 15 minutes, then we'll be on our way to the actual adventure itself. I'm going to begin with my introduction, then I will have you guys introduce your characters, which will actually hold off. Well, I'll be quiet for a second while uh, Rhyme figures or decides who they want to play as. Remind me, who has been chosen already? I know Sophia, and I am blanking on the rest.
I've got Arvo Lasco, the Vagabond.
Mm-hmm. Thank
And
you.
I've already chosen Sergey Petrie.
Okay. So yeah, that's going to leave the academic Edvin Hohenheim. Oh, of course I know that's that. Then we have Orlean Torvin, the priest, and then yep, that's the two remaining. Then you have a pair of characters that were created by players, so they might be missing something somewhere. I don't really remember them that well, if you want the truth of the matter. Oh, but that being said, Julie looks to be relatively well fleshed out. And if you
This
want to
guy,
change any fast, yeah,
Erling is the priest. This guy's a priest
yes,
here. All right, I'll go with him. That's fine.
hmm absolutely.
Oh, this is a woman.
Oh, right, Yeah, something like that. Yeah, early in the. I mean, if you want to just call them all instead and say they're a man, feel free.
Yeah, I'll be a
Anything
guy.
that sounds good. Yeah, sorry about that. Oh, the awkwardness.
Okay.
They should add a few more pre-gens to this. At least for a little more variety. Yeah, thank you. Sorry for all that. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I've already given you my name. Yeah, I've run. How long have I run Vice? It's been probably 2 years now since I've been running Vice in primarily one shot. So leveling up isn't something I'm particularly familiar with. But for the rest of the rules, I've got handouts. Does anyone have any questions for me before we move on? And actually give you guys a couple of minutes just to read over your characters and decide how you'd like to introduce them.
I think we've had a chance to look over them over the last couple days. I mentioned to you that Sophia did not have a memento listed, and I noticed that she also had some conditions. I went ahead and unchecked those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's just left over from the previous player.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. And then she needs that typewriter on her mementos.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something she can add, or is that something that you would take care of?
Oh, I just say it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see it on the character sheet. Oops.
Okay.
In fact, her character sheet is invisible at the moment.
Oh, did you tap on the top bar twice? Because so that will make it shrink down and become translucent.
Oh, there it is. Yep. Now we've got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Scroll down. There's your typewriter right there. Okay. Sophia should be set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's give you guys a little more time. If anyone needs to continue looking through it, yeah. I mean, any questions about the system itself while we wait?
I do have a question about, under the bio for my character, there's a motivation. I know there's a thing called Dark Secret in the game. There's not one listed. Is that just something you want me to just kind of come up with now?
So in this instance, it's the same difference. Basically, it's the Dark Secret is how your character became involved with the Vaesen, maybe getting the sight or something else like that, if they weren't innately given the sight or born with it. The reason I don't list that as a Dark Secret is actually more because it avoids some level of confusion more than it does anything else. And the Dark Secret doesn't, as far as I remember, have any mechanical leverage. It's simply something that haunts your character.
Yeah, I think it, as far as I understand, it only comes into play at the end if you are assigning like experience points. I think if it came into play, I think that's the only thing that it does mechanically.
Yep. Yeah, but one shots that will not be a relevant part.
Right.
Question. My character is already exhausted. Did I unclick this?
Yeah, you'll just unclick that.
Thank you.
Go back to that then sessions and really just clean them out. What if Voltron just didn't save it? Maybe. Oh well. Any questions before we get on to character introductions?
I don't think so.
Cool. Thank you. So we're going to go in the order listed on Discord, so top to bottom, which is alphabetical. Well, since that's really just the easiest way to do it. And if you need a little more time to think, please just say skip, and we will get back to you at the end. So Hypno-Ute. Sorry, I just have a bit of glare from the sun, so reading my screen is a little difficult at the moment.
No worries. So
you'll be up first.
I'm playing Arvo Lasco. He is a vagabond, roughly age 35. Kind of scruffy, not particularly dirty, but you can tell that it's maybe been a few days or even a week or more since his last proper bath. He looks haggard. He looks as though he is a man on a mission, as though he is seeking out something. There's a sadness behind his eyes that he has only revealed once, and that was to Sophia, who was one of his friends. He has also made a confession to a priest about this, and I assume we have a priest in the party, so I'm going to go ahead and say that that's the priest that he has made that confession to. He carries around on his person. He's got a walking stick and a small flask of liquor, and in a small ornate wooden box, there's a syringe. And this isn't any sort of junkie's kit. This looks like it's from a hospital. In fact, his hands are quite skilled, and one might think that perhaps he was in the medical profession before he chose a life on the road, traveling, seeking something.
Nice, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So next up is going to be Mythic? Oh wait.
Yes, so playing Sophia Karjala, who is 23 and a writer. So she is a born medium, and she is very open towards ghosts and seeing them. So she has a very open connection to the Vaesen and spirits and such. She carries with her writing utensils. As she is a writer, she enjoys writing fairy tales about what she sees, the creatures she encounters. She also carries with her a camera to photograph any mysterious beings that she sees, as well as a book collection. She likes to be well informed about anything that she encounters or will encounter. She also carries with her she has a typewriter where she can write down any information.
Yeah,
good.
Yes, that is,
yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Next up is going to be Loading this back up. Rhyme, you will be up next.
So I'm playing Earl Jarvin. Earl is 49, so he's not quite 50, so he's maybe a little bit young. I'm Earl Jarvin. You see, I am with the Protestant Church of England, and I have been sent here to make sure that all of this monster business is just to prove it all that it is utter rubbish. Apparently, I come from a long line of witch hunters and supernatural hunters, and they were all killed by werewolves. But as we all know, this is nonsense. There's no such thing as werewolves. So they were probably just engaging in silly shenanigans and things like that and got killed. Just a bit of bad luck.
Nice, thank you. And then last but not least. Oh, Storefront?
Yes, so I am playing Sergei Petri. He is 59 years old, and he was a survivor from the Crimean War. So his battalion was decimated by unknown forces, and this event gave him the sight. And since then, he's found a calling hunting these malicious Vaesen that he believed attacked his battalion. And he has a hunting dog named Pluto, and he's rather skilled with a rifle. and this is what he's here for after any malicious Vaesen, and wants to get rid of them so that they can't harm anyone else.
Thank you. Yeah. So with introductions out of the way, let's get on to the last. By the way, does anyone need a tour of the character sheet? Since honestly, these are pretty simple. Most of the time, I'm just going to look at the right-hand side where all the skills are, and click on what skill might be relevant at the moment. So there's not really a lot that you need to memorize there. And of course, you'll also find the conditions there, and every condition will give you a -1 to either your physical or mental stats, divided by physique and precision versus logic and empathy. And quite frankly, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and we'll get into more. But this is all relatively simple, if you want the truth. But anyway, yeah, again, if you have any questions. But there are a couple of rules notes I have. So first, when you begin an adventure, and I'm going to do it slightly differently than you actually do it in the game where we're supposed to do it, you choose one favored skill, something that one time during the adventure you will be able to get a +2 to, helping you succeed. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you choose one roll and say, okay, I want a +2 on that. Because you decide, okay, this is important for me to succeed on.
So
Since
would
that
this
gives you
be?
just...
Oh,
Mhm.
sorry. Would this take the place of like the advantage that you would normally do in a session?
Oh, this is... I'm pretty sure this is actually literally that.
Okay.
I'm just using a different name for it.
Perfect.
Since advantage gets swapped around with D&D,
Right. Makes it a little
which...
confusing.
Yeah.
Is it? And this is like a one-time. Do we declare it before we're doing it?
Yes. Generally, I'd ask you to declare before, but that's really just because it's much easier to add the thing in while you're adding in auto modifiers, if you have auto modifiers. But quite frankly, if you decide after the fact, sure. I'm not going to really penalize you for it. Just a little less kosher. Yeah. The other thing that I want to mention is equipment. So, normally speaking, you would also go on a shopping trip at the beginning of an adventure. I'm going to take a very blazing dark approach to this and just say, you can, if it's something you reasonably would have known about that you'd want, for example, let's say you want to bring a couple of books along with you. You don't have to declare it now. You could say in the middle of adventure and then spend the coin for it. Okay, I would have bought some books on this because I know this was coming. Because the assumption is your characters are experts in this to one degree or another. So, yeah. Now, if it's something that you couldn't reasonably have bought or foreseen, then you will have to try and buy it mid-adventure, which includes a roll. But that basically never comes up, so not a big thing. Yeah. And that's enough of my little notes. Let's actually get to the adventure itself, shall we? Yeah. So, well, I've got two portions of this. There's the TLDR portion, and then the full invitation that actually comes with the adventure. Yeah, so I'll quickly go to the TLDR, but if you want to take a moment to read over the full version, please feel free. Yeah. Since the basis of it, the adventure, at least as far as it begins, is that Hugo and his wife Agnes recently had their first child, Eddard. However, Agnes believes the child isn't theirs and was sent to Arnsborg Sanitarium. The only person Agnes will talk to is Father Cornelius, who helped her as, quite frankly, Hugo was often absent. And beyond that, Father Cornelius, he wants to perform an exorcism, which to Hugo sounds dangerous to one degree or another. And he's really looking to solve all this in a more scientific fashion, instead of with mysticism or religion. Yeah, and if anyone wants to read through the full version, feel free, it's just scrolling down. Yeah, and just give me a thumbs up when you're done.
All right, give me one moment, please.
Yeah.
The only person Agnes talks to is Father Cornelius, so she doesn't even talk to her husband Hugo? Or is that inferred?
That would be inferred. Yeah, she's not really taking visitors, if you want the truth of the matter. That being said, you can try and open her up or get her to talk to you by visiting her, if you'd like.
Yeah, so in the letter, Hugo actually says that she will not talk to me anymore. The only person she's been in contact with is her priest, Father Cornelius.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Arvo, at reading this letter, would immediately want to see this through. His own family was torn asunder by supernatural forces, and the thought of Hugo's wife, Agnes, perhaps falling prey to something like this, uh, not only the child, but perhaps the wife as well, would motivate him to want to see an end to this, and perhaps it will quiet some of the horrible visions that he has experienced since he ran into the supernatural himself.
That's true. Oh, right, I did forget to mention that. So, by default, and you can decide if you guys want to do something different, please feel free to do so, is that within Vaesen, you're part of what is called the Society. You're basically a group of individuals who go out and investigate Vaesen or things related to them. Since with the Vaesen, they're not necessarily malicious, they might just be reacting to something a human has done. And the goal is really to resolve issues, not necessarily to kill the Vaesen or stop them, or, well, basically anything associated with a Eldritch entity in Call of Cthulhu. Well, then again, some Eldritch entities are actually rather friendly. I'll let you decide how Dollicet falls in that one, though.
Well, Arvo is definitely game. He is chomping at the bit to help Hugo.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
Sergei, given the opportunity that this could possibly be a malicious Vaesen, would be eager to investigate this and possibly put an end to the misdoings of this Vaesen.
Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. Yeah, so I assume everyone's done reading with it, or does anyone want a moment longer before you get to the adventure itself, or move on?
I
I'm
think
good.
we
Sorry,
are
I
finished.
haven't hit thumbs up. I'm good.
Yep, we're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to check in since you guys were being talk, and I just want to make sure we didn't mow anyone over. But yes. So the adventure proper begins as you're on a ferry. You're going to the Box in Blue, a town on the island of Osel called Arnsborg. Yeah, and as you arrive, it's not the liveliest port you've ever been. It's not the biggest town you've ever been, but it is pleasant. Pastoral is maybe another word for it. As you arrive, and you can see a coach approaching the ferry itself. As a smartly dressed man named Teet hops off. He would have mentioned his letter perhaps to you. And that he would come and pick you up. He is the Von Korsling's, Hugo and Agnes's driver. So, how do you approach him, or what do you want to do? He's come to pick you up, take you to the Von Korsling estate.
Arvo definitely wants to get a feel for this man, this driver. Perhaps if he can get him aside, he might ask if he knows the nature of the issue. What is causing this hardship for Agnes and Hugo? And tell me, their child, is it true what they say? Did she mean it harm?
Do me a favor and give me a manipulation roll to get everything you want out of him.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, and you don't have any modifiers one way or another.
Okay.
Okay, so you get one success. So, Teach, and as you see him, he's a smartly dressed young man, about 25 to 38, somewhere in that age range. Yeah, as he helps you with his luggage, you ask him the question, and he looks at you and says, well, look, my lady has always been a good woman, treat us well. I couldn't tell you what exactly transpired that night. I only know that in the morning it was decided that it'd be best if she was sent to the sanitarium for a little bit of help. That being said, I know the Wet North would know a little bit more about that. But I would like to impress upon you that she is a good woman, a rational, sane woman, who, the circumstances regarding Edward's birth, with Hugo being out of town to give lectures and spread his thesis, it taxed her quite a bit. But no, I would say that they're fine folks. They're very good people. They've always treated me well, and my family as well.
Thank you for your candor, and please, please let us help them. Get us there as swiftly as possible. I would speak with Hugo.
Certainly, and he is eager to see you as well, and put all this behind. Well, all of us, to be honest with you. And Teet goes along to help everyone else with their luggage, piling it in the back of the carriage. Does anyone have any questions for him? Hello?
No questions.
Okay, yeah, sorry, it's just, with Discord as it is, I'm always a little worried that maybe I've just dropped. But it has been working today, so, that's something. Actually, yes, so, we're getting back into the game itself. The carriage pulls you along through Orangeburg. You can see the brick building along the side, and then it goes past it to the suburbs, where only the wealthiest, and of course the Van Korslings, or Von Korsling, I should say, they are some of the wealthier individuals in town to begin with, to put it mildly. Coming from Germanic nobility, and as you get to it, they have a nice iron gate leading into this driveway. To the left of it, you see a rose garden and other various decorations for the lawn. It's a very nice place with a large house, double doors made of a hard oak. And Teach will lay you out there as he helps the ladies out, and then, of course, open the door for the gentleman. And he says, we have arrived. If you just knock on the door, Hugo will get you in a second. And I will get your belongings up to your rooms. Unless there's anything you'd like to keep with you, of course.
If we have a moment between knocking the door and when the driver leaves, Arvo would like to just kind of look around and see if this house, as a vagabond, maybe he's a mind of places that might be broken into. Not that he has ever done such things, but to see if there's signs of forced entry on a nearby window, or perhaps the door, as someone has made their way in here. This could all be some elaborate scheme to exact money from this rich family. So he just wants to see if it looks like anyone has broken into this home through a window or door.
Okay, so that's going to be a logic check. Well, alternatively, you can use stealth as well, because the question also becomes, how would I do it?
Right. I think I'm probably going to use more logic, looking for what I think might have caused this.
Oh, sorry, I meant to say investigation.
Or
I said
investigation.
logic, didn't I? Yeah, sorry, it's right above it, and
I guess it uses my logic skill, I guess is how.
Yes, it does.
And I
Okay.
succeed.
So yeah, as you look around, trying to find any signs of forceful entry, you don't see any, or nothing that stands out to you. Someone could reasonably go through the windows, they're not latched or anything like that. Quite frankly, the wall outside and the iron gate should keep most anyone out. The distance back to town, unless you have a carriage, is not pleasant, or at least certainly a hike.
And
But
there's no
yeah,
signs of like recent repair, fresh paint on a window, uh, window
no,
frame.
nothing like that. Then again, you could just open the windows yourself.
Right,
You'd have to put a bit of effort in from the outside, but you certainly could do it. Not that you see marks of a crowbar or anything.
right. Which I do have one just in case, but we're not going to do that right now.
Hmm.
So I
Yes.
will do the civilized thing then and look at the others, and if they're ready to knock on the door, I think we could go in.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, actually, so what is everyone else thinking as you're just watching Orville case the entire place?
Hopefully Sophia thinks kind thoughts because she knows me.
Well, yes, you do have a bit of a acquaintance with each other. So Sophia is just looking up at this is something that Arvo uh, is doing to gain information.
Hmm, absolutely. Did anyone else want to say anything or contribute? Or
Earl is. Go ahead, Sergey.
Yeah, so Sergey's probably interested in what Arvo might have found. Sergey himself is hoping to get the opportunity to explore the grounds and the gardens to just see if there's any um, traces of anything. But for the time being, he's interested in just hearing what Arvo might have learned, just assessing the building.
I would probably, as an aside, whisper, I don't see the sign of anyone breaking in here. Most often or not, these cases are someone extorting money from a wealthy family. But perhaps, as you say, there may be some tracks if there's a werewolf about. And as he says the word werewolf, you see his eyes kind of dart left and right. We would know it by its tracks.
hmm Yeah. Okay, and Rhyme, you were saying something?
Earl is thinking, oh dear, no, not again. I hope Arvo is not going to embarrass us again with his rather uncouth behavior and the theories that he has.
Oh, just wait. It's coming.
Indeed. Yeah, and with that, you all, unless someone has anything like to do, knock on the door. Yeah, yeah. You take the big lion, the ones with lions on them, and the knock on down. Just a few bangs, and you hear footsteps coming, somewhat hurriedly, as a man in his mid-40s to early 40s pops out. He looks a little gaunt. This is Hugo, whereas he smiles. Let me actually toss his token up on the VTT as well, so that'll show you what he looks like. Word, picture being worth 1,000 words and whatnot. Yeah, you can see he's a little gaunt, and looks and all that, as he pokes his head up. Oh, thank you for coming. Yeah, please come on in, and we've been expecting you. Yes, so. And there's an awkward pause as he looks for what exactly to say. And it's filled instead by a small child, a baby, in fact, beginning to cry. Sorry, do you mind if we take this to the nursery?
After you.
Thank you, yes, it's right this way. Yeah. And as you walk in, you find this blonde woman, Ano, to be exact, the wet nurse, as she's rocking, little Edward. And you see as Hugo says, "Oh, I can take care of him. If you want to go grab my consola for me, that would be appreciated." And he takes over, trying to soothe Edward, but nothing, well, no real effect. So, any questions you have over this crying child?
Arvo will look at Sophia and ask her if she has been in contact with any spirits in this house since we've been here, knowing that she has a keen sense of hearing those voices that communicate to her through her writing. Have you heard anything? Is anyone speaking to you when we entered into this house or this nursery or in the presence of this child?
Sophia will take a moment and just close her eyes and take a deep breath, maybe try to feel any presence in the room or in the house. Just take a moment to see if she can feel or hear any presence with them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Give me an inspiration check to reach out to the beyond. Oh, inspiration, by the way, is under empathy skills. So go to the bottom and it'll be on the right, just above the experience boxes. Well, actually, right beyond under empathy skills, but Did I cut out? There we go. So, something that you can do if you fail a check is you can decide to push yourself, which means that you will reroll all of your non-successes, and then afterwards click a condition. Something happens to prevent you from trying again.
I think Sophia will just take this as she doesn't feel anything with them.
Yes, there you are. You see, there's nothing here. So this is rather all nonsense. We need to just convince this priest not to have an exorcism.
Hugo, tell me, your wife, where is she?
Oh, Agnes, she's currently in Arnsburg Sanitarium. We felt it was best that she was there, as she's been under a lot of strain lately. Well, if I have to be honest with you, it's my fault. I became a little too round of my research as of, well, research, presenting it and all that. I'm something of a scientist. I study the geology. Most recently, I had a book, A Song of a Falling Star, that addresses the craters around Collie Village. Yep, he says, continuing clock, and as this happens, Zeno comes in with this, well, if you go back to the invitation, on the top of that is where an image of a consola is, and Hugo hands off little Edward to, would any of you like to take the baby for a moment?
Oh, this child is so lovely. Let me hold him. I'll hold him for you,
Oh,
Hugo.
yes, thank you.
Such a pleasure.
Yeah, sorry, he doesn't really settle down unless I play. Give me a moment. As Hugo begins to play the consola, and he does so fabulously. It's a very majestic thing, very high quality instrument, all of that. And as he does so, Edward begins to quiet down.
Yeah, see, there's nothing to fear. Look at this child. He's falling asleep in my arms. Beautiful young boy.
Yes, the consola has always soothed him quite a bit. Is that right now? Yes, it does. She says, looking at all of you, and you can tell that she wants to say something to you, but she doesn't want to say it in front of anyone else. But anyway, yes. What was your question again? Sorry, it slipped my mind. His hands continue to pluck string after string.
Tell me, your wife, is it true what you wrote? She meant harm to your child.
Yes, Ano witnessed it or stopped her. I was not there at the moment, regrettably so. But
Has she ever shown tendency toward violence before?
no, nothing of the sort. She is a good and loyal and honest woman, as you'll all find. And, I don't know what could have drove her to this. I afraid that it might have been my doing, me spending too much time away from the home. I did not carry the slack as I should have, so to speak.
So perhaps she was overburdened by this child.
That is what I think. If you could find some way to assure her that little Edward is, in fact, our child, I would be greatly appreciative of that. I'm also concerned about the exorcism that Father Cornelius has been proposing, and as he says that, you hear a rather loud knocking on the door. Hugo sighs. If you wouldn't mind letting the father in? Certainly, sir.
Oh, it's good
As she
enough. I'm
leaves.
already here. I'm here. You don't need to let me in. I'm already here.
Oh, that is not the active issue. Give it a second. And as Hugo continues to play, you see this other man, and let me quickly pull up his token for all of you. Did I? There we go. Father Cornelius. He's a man in his late 30s with piercing blue eyes and blonde hair as he storms into the room. Hugo, I would like to have a word with you, but yes, I'm sure you would. Look, I've brought in some experts, individuals who will help me and Agnes. Hugo, you know that this is not how you're going to save your child. You will need to repent both what you've done within Kali Village, but as well have your child baptized. Because you weren't there, they were not christened. This is what happened to Agnes. Please, I implore you, you have to do this. Father Cornelius, we've been over this before. Let's just allow these experts to work, and you just hear a grunting, groaning sound coming out of Father Cornelius. Does anyone want to jump in on this conversation, by the way? I imagine it's not that entertaining to watch me roleplay with myself.
While this is going on,
Mhm.
I'd like to speak with the nurse about what she wanted to say. Maybe I'll approach her. Miss, I know you
Yes,
spend much time with this child, and
I
I
do.
see there's something on your mind. Is there something you would like to say?
Yes, do you mind if we speak of this somewhere else? Not where Hugo in here, it regards the Madame. Yes, thank you for understanding. She says in a hushed tone, whispering to you, so, does anyone else want to do it, or do you just let Hugo and Father Cornelius play out what is obviously a tired routine by this point?
As a priest,
Mhm.
I would side with the father and be like, yes, you don't want to do this. You obviously want to be baptizing the child. That's the right way to go. Like, come and listen to reason. This is nonsense.
Well, of course we intend to baptize the child, but I want Agnes to be there for it as well. It's an important moment in Edward's life, and to rob her of that would be cruel. And she's already suffered enough, has she not?
When I see Sophia speaking to the nurse, I'm going to offer to take the child and hold the child for a moment.
Mhm.
Before I became a vagabond, I was a doctor, and I would like to perform a basic medical examination on the child.
Absolutely. Make a medicine roll. Provided, of course, the
I will
oral
be
will
doing it,
hand you a child.
kind of carefully so that no one sees me manipulating this
Mhm.
child's joints and whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, is
Uh,
anyone helping? since you can gain up to +3 dice for other people helping. Each individual helping you gives you +1.
Well, I did not make that roll, but I would like to push this roll. I think this is
Okay.
important to me. Maybe I can get the
Would Sergey could come over and perhaps hold the child for you while you examine it.
yep, that would be helpful if I'm not having to wrestle a small child. So what's the bonus I would get on that?
So it's a +1 bonus per character helping you, and you get our bonuses for something, tools and equipment you have. For example, the hunting dog gives a +3 bonus to, I believe it's investigation, close combat, and why am I forgetting the last one? It's the obvious one too. Yeah, observation. That's it.
I don't know that I have any. I guess I could give the child liquor, but I don't think that's going to help.
Please don't.
Yeah, I think I'll just take the +1 for Sergey's help as I push that roll and I succeed, and then I will take a condition, and it would be, I'm assuming, a mental condition. Perhaps I am frightened. This hits a little too close to home, so I'm going to go ahead and check that frightened box.
Thank you. So, as you look at child, Edward should be only a few weeks, maybe months old, and he is by far too large for that. And as he grasps your fingers, he has an iron grip in doing so, much too strong. This baby definitely doesn't feel like it should, given its age. So,
That
likely
would
as not,
definitely
this
frighten me
is
for sure.
probably not Edward, but you'd notice if a child got swapped out and the physical characteristics just one day swapped from, let's say, blonde hair to brown. Well, that's usually a more gradual process, but that's a different story.
So there is definitely something amiss with this child, and I will
Yes.
look at Sergey with a look of concern that and let him know that this is not a normal, healthy child.
Yeah, well, it's definitely healthy.
Very healthy, yes, but not a normal child.
Yes, and kind of seemed concerned. He kind of had these same suspicions coming in here.
So while Sophia is speaking with the nurse, I will just do my best to soothe the child, holding it carefully. In fact, maybe allowing Pluto, Sergei's dog, to see if the child is entertained by this beast, or perhaps the child is hungry and lunges at the beast. I'm just curious about the nature of this child. Physically, it
Well, it
seems to
doesn't
be
try and eat the
advanced.
dog.
That's
I'll
good.
tell you that right now.
That's good.
It does act like a child, or an infant, so to speak. It's not suddenly talking or do anything particularly odd. It's just a little too healthy, a little too large, a little too strong. But yeah. Eventually, yeah. So as you're doing that, this conversation between the father and Hugo, wraps up, and Father Cornelius goes to Oral and says, well, since you're one of the experts I've been called in, I trust that you will speak sense into Hugo here, as we all hope for Agnes's swift return to good health. Correct? Hugo nods, putting down the consola, though ever so slightly hesitant in doing so. I'll see you out, Father Cornelius. And yeah, with that, you all left in the room with the baby and Ano.
Yes, and if I could just ask, my conversation with the nurse, I'm not sure if it cut out, but if I could ask what was said.
Yes. Apologies for forcing you to wait. It's... I didn't want to say in front of Hugo, but... Little Edward, he's a sweet child, but he's not quite normal. He's a little too large. And, well, it's what the missus said as... Well, you see, one night I heard her get up, and then I saw her trying to harm little Edward. She hadn't been feeling well, and she'd begun to believe that it wasn't her child, that something had taken it and swapped them out, so to speak. Which reminded me of a legend back in my home village of Collie. Every now and again, a troll, because someone broke a promise or for similar reasons, I don't remember well enough. You'd have to probably talk to the elders there uh, for the full information. But anyway, they would swap out a child for a changeling. One of their own that looked exactly like the same, like the child in question. Grow up, maybe a little bit stronger, a little larger, but... apologies, I know this all sounds like nonsense. I'm sure that someone as sophisticated as you wouldn't believe this, but... it all seems rather odd, and I thought I should mention it, as it might give you a hint of what exactly is happening. I mean, Hugo did spend quite a few months in Collie Village, learning the continent, learning the stories to put together his thesis.
Yes, I see. Well, thank you. Any information helps us.
Oh, certainly. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me. I worry about both Milady, Sandy, and health and all this, since it's been incredibly trying. And I know that the pregnancy wasn't easy on her either, though it rarely is.
Of course. Well, we are here to help in whatever way we can.
Thank you. I do truly appreciate this. They're both good people. They deserve better than what's happening to them.
While this is occurring, Sergei is going to excuse himself from the room, and he just wants to get some fresh air and just kind of walk the grounds and just investigate for any perhaps tracks or signs of something on the grounds, and especially paying particular attention to the wing of the house where the infant's nursery is.
Absolutely. And you will gain a +3 for your dog. Does anyone want to help Sergei in this?
Arvo would certainly help. It seems like they're kind of teaming up on this train of thought here. So Arvo would help, give you a +1 bonus.
Okay.
And that would be investigation?
Yeah, this would be investigation because you're actively looking for tracks.
And then +2 for the dog and +1 for another one.
+3 for the dog, since this is a hunting dog. And then 1 for an aid. So you need another D6 by the looks of it.
Oh, just.
Yep, I gotcha. Okay, so you do get a success.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's more Pluto than it is Sergei that finds the tracks, the scent of it, as it goes sniffing around, and having been able to sample everyone's scents, it finds one that isn't quite the same as the rest. Two, actually. Yep, which is one more than you would have expected. House guest perhaps, though it goes directly to the wall, and then begins scratching at it as if it wants to, or as if Pluto wants to go over to continue tracking the scent.
I think your dog is onto something.
Yes, indeed. And I will just let Pluto go, and I'll follow him wherever he goes.
Let me just tell the others where we're going, and I will come with you. And I will go and alert Sophia and Earl that we are investigating something on the grounds, and that we will meet them back here within the hour.
Okay. Yeah, you go back out, and you'll go to outside the wall and begin following the tracks again. Though this is a deep 10-foot or so tall brick wall, something that's not so easily scaled by at least a normal human, as far as you can tell. The dog takes you off in a northeast direction. I'm just gonna put an arrow so it's easier to follow. And as you're going off for the hour or so, where to follow these tracks into the woods, Hugo returns back to see Zochu. Apologies for all that. Father Cornelius he's a very caring man and very committed to God. He just becomes a little too extreme, that's all.
I
Mhm.
would like to maybe hold the child and see if I feel any sort of
Psychic presence or something?
spirit presence, I guess.
Sure. Give me inspiration is where it goes just because of your ability. Though, quite frankly, spirits are more of a particular type of monster, or Vaesen, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So you could very well take a observation roll instead to try and get a better read on the child.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, the child is relatively sweet. It will grasp your hands and things you'd usually expect. And as you watch it, him, to be more exact, he doesn't very purposely doesn't do anything too odd, though his attention goes to Hugo when he walks in, following him as he nods himself, and as he goes back down, you hear crying noise coming out of Edward, or Edward begins crying soon after, and again is soothed by the Contola as the Hugo begins playing. And yeah, is there anything you guys would like to ask Hugo, or anything else you would like to do before we move on?
Can I ask him maybe how he acquired the object to suit the child?
The Katla.
Yes.
Hugo, yeah, and if Roll
Good
wants to
question.
help out anytime. Oh, please, sorry, I didn't mean to cut someone off.
No, I just said good question.
Yeah, so, yeah, and Roll can actually assist with this if you would like to. But anyway, yeah.
Logic.
Hugo doesn't hide the
famous
vision. He
craters
says, "Oh,
nearby,
hi."
kinda like-
He looks down at it fondly,
Yeah, that's
a
that.
little too fondly, as he says, "Oh, well, I got this in Collie Village a few years ago. Back when I was beginning my research there, no one would talk to me, no one shared stories, but a woman, Lilo, says like, she took pity on me. Yeah, there are people who really enjoy the Contola and the folk music, and she lent me this Contola and taught me how to play. I'm not nearly as good as her, but and he's doing this all while continuing to play without missing a beat at all. So he is quite accomplished, to be clear.
Now, Kali Village, of course, Arvo's not there, but just for my own purpose, Kali Village is the same location that the nurse told Sophia where there was rumors of trolls. Yep. And the same direction that we are tracking those footprints. And presumably the same location where the craters were that Hugo was studying. Got it.
Yeah, Hugo could tell you easily enough that there were 9 craters surrounding Kali Village. Created by, according to his research, meteor impacts, in fact. Though they have been used for a number of purposes, most notably religious or sacrifices in centuries past. The blood sacrifice type, not the oh, we're just going to put an altar there. No, it's a oh, we're going to sacrifice a human there type thing. But anyway, yeah, Hugo continues to play the consola, and yeah, he mentioned that it came from Kale Village, that Lilo is the one who lent it to him. I'm just... Yeah, and as you watch him, you see that he's very comfortable with this instrument, almost possessive of it. And yeah, do you have any other questions or any thoughts you'd like to ask him?
I do not.
Okay. Absolutely.
Hugo, so explain this. Why does your wife think that this child is some sort of like changeling or something?
I don't really know, if you want to know the truth. Well, Lilo's, Ino's the one who's spent most time with her as of late, so she'd be able to give you more details. I've tried to ask her, but she said that something took our baby. Something horrific. I've heard about this before, that sometimes new parents have, what is it called? Actually, they probably don't have the word postpartum depression yet, but that's basically what he's going to describe.
You know what? Like I'm with you, young man. Like this is all probably just nonsense, and she'll get over it in time. But did she claim that she saw something?
Yeah.
Did she come running out of the basement one day and?
Not out of the basement. She said that she saw some sort of creature, as it were, climb through the window and snatch up our little Edward and replace him. But I mean, he's right there. As you can see, plain as day, doing well. He's healthy, happy, I'd hope, but we'll have to see on that one.
Yes, exactly. The child is still right there. So this creature that climbed through the window, it didn't look anything like Arvo at all, did it? He was like, what day was this? So I can make sure that he has an alibi. Make sure that it wasn't him.
Oh, no, I don't imagine how Arvo could have kidnapped Edward. After all,
he's got ways of climbing up things. You don't know the man very well. But really? So what day exactly was this? He's skilled. Let's just say that.
Oh, I want to say it was about 3 weeks ago, when I was returning from a trip, that it happened. Yes, and then according to Ino,
okay, well, Arvo is no longer a suspect. Thank you. I appreciate your time. I'm sure this will all pass. Thank you. I admire you, young man.
Thank you, there I suppose. But no, I'm just trying to. Please, Father, please help me make my family whole again. I don't know what evil has possessed my wife, but I would see her get better as soon as possible.
Well, just a little cautious. It's possible that an evil has not possessed your young wife. It may just be she's a bit hysterical, whatnot. But I think it'll pass in time. You all will be well. All will be. My friends they'll search around here and they'll find nothing, and all will be well. And her fears will be alleviated.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, if you could see her, maybe talk to her. I know it sounds horrible for me, but help her see sense. I'm terrified that Father Cornelius's superstitions, not to say the church's superstition, but just his wilder beliefs about paganism and the power of Christ and whatnot.
Yes, there you are.
Might be driving her astray, might be worsening her condition. I'm sorry, this is all a rather large and heavy topic for you, isn't it? I do apologize if I've put too much on you.
No, not at all. I'm used to hearing such things.
Thank you, Father. I appreciate you saying so, and for taking on my case. I do truly appreciate it.
Well, it was good talking to you. I'll be here if you need me, and I'll talk to your wife at some point today.
Only. And with that, Hugo disappears into his music, becoming entranced with it and the consola itself. as his baby, well, not his baby apparently, Edward is placed into the cradle. And they just spend their time with that father playing, not son listening contently. And yeah, an hour or so goes by as Arvo and Sergei come back, having followed the tracks, maybe picking up a few sticks and other boards with them as well as they went through the woods.
Did we lose the tracks, or did we just realize when we need to return? We told them we'd be back within the hour. Do the tracks
So if you're only
continue on?
going for an hour, you would not have lost the tracks, but to step out from the GM screen a little bit, you would have lost them as they go across the stream.
Okay. But we have a bearing that looks like they headed to the vicinity of Kali Village.
Indeed.
Now, Hugo was not letting us stay at his home when we were invited, or did he offer accommodation?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's offered accommodation. They have plenty of rooms for all of you. I should mention about Grand Estate, after all.
I would be interested this evening, perhaps at midnight, Sophia would hold some sort of private seance with herself, perhaps in the presence of the child, and see if he can determine anything of its nature. Although we are suspicious, based on the story of the troll, or even in her books, perhaps her books have some information on troll lore that may help us to determine the best course of action. And I think we also should speak with Agnes in the sanitarium.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, what order would you guys like to do that in? Since books would be a learning check.
Yes. So Sophia, after getting all this information, would like to take a glance at the books she has,
And I think,
see if there's any information.
Does her book collection give her any sort of bonus?
Yeah, it does give a +2 bonus if I remember correctly.
And you said it was a learning roll?
Learning, yes.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no, the book collection doesn't. If you look at new equipment, you'll see that's a 0. I'm thinking of someone else that's a +2 somewhere. Apologies.
Do a straight roll then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless someone wants to help. Yeah, you don't find anything in your books about trolls in particular. At most, they will commingle with societies, sometimes being worshipped, sometimes not so much. They usually have some sort of tell, of course, like all Vaesen do, but unlike other Vaesen that you've heard of, they're not invisible to the naked eye of the average person, like, say, a pixie or a woodwife are. Instead, they will, as I said, mingle, pass themselves off as human. Changing, though, of course, a child that's been swapped out, well, usually from its crib with something, by a troll. Though that part you probably already figured out.
So your study yields nothing. We should definitely speak with Agnes.
Yes, I agree.
Earl, with your knowledge of the church, of spiritual matters, perhaps you would be the best to get us entry into the sanitarium. I was a doctor, but I no longer hold a license, and I could not gain entry without deception.
Oh, no need to do that, Arvo. Yes, we'll go. We can go and ask, and surely we'll get in.
Yes.
Go talk to the young woman.
Well, please lead the way.
Very well. We all ready?
I think so.
Yeah, so everyone going to... Sorry, someone say something?
Sorry, I just said that Sergey's ready.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'll call up Teat as you get or he drives you into town towards the sanitarium. Again, town's nice. So the sanitarium is a little more grim than the rest, or perhaps just perception. It's a brick building in the middle of town, a little bit taller than the rest, of a more solid foundation, shall we say. As you walk in, there's pleasant enough ornamentation to the front office, a desk, a counter, and all of that, of course. But you see a relative, let's say 50-something-year-old woman with gray hair, as she looks up over her spectacles to you. Hi, uh, who have you come to see today, if I might ask?
Hello, we're here to see the Lady Agnes. I just want to,
Agnes.
she's got sort of rites that I want to administer and pray for her and whatnot. And these are some friends of mine that I'm teaching them sort of how to do some of the how we go about doing this in the church.
Certainly, Father. Give me a second. The woman sticks out her tongue as she flips through a ledger. Ah, yes. I apologize, but you would need to get Dr. Norman's permission before you'd be allowed to see Mrs. Von Korsling. Yep. She's in a very delicate state right now.
Oh, no, nonsense! This is purely a matter of the church. Just spirituality, separation of church and state, and all of that. Just want to go there and just pray for the young lady. Nothing too nonsensical like that. Nothing medical. We're just going to do sort of pray for her, make sure that her soul and her well-being is taken care of.
The woman pushes the wire rim glasses up her nose as she looks at you dead in the eye. I apologize, sir, but and I do not mean to disrespect your faith or your position within the church, but it is policy here because she has had a number of issues while she was here with that you must talk to Dr. Norman and he must verify that you will do no harm or delay her recovery any further.
I can assure you, we mean no harm. Is the good doctor here?
Yes, I will call him.
Please.
Give me 1 second. And she spins her head around the corner as she doesn't quite shout. This is like the polite version of shouting, which says, Dr. Norman, we'll need for you for a second. There's a couple of people who'd like to see you. One of the doors opens, swinging inward, as a slightly rounder gentleman in his, he's got wispy white hair and nearly bald, comes bouncing out of his office, albeit not jollily, not like Santa Claus after all, and he says, Mrs. Ratchet, what do you need my help with? These individuals would like to talk to you about seeing Mrs. Von Korsling. Absolutely, sure. Yes, please, come into my office. May I ask what exactly you came here to talk to about?
Anybody want to chime in, or do you want me to keep kind of trying to talk to this guy?
I think you're doing quite well.
Okay. Yes, well, as you see here, we came on behest of Hugo. Oh, forgive me, I forget his last name. Hugo von
Korsling.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter.
And of course, Father Cornelius, and being a member of the Church of England, we're just concerned about settling this whole matter and making sure that everything is okay, because we have a young lady who's interested in doing something spiritual to a child, and we want to be sure that all is well. And these are just longtime friends and companions of Sophia. I'm sure you've heard of her, Sophia Karjala. She's a writer. She's very interested in this case and just would like to take some notes and whatnot. Sergey here. Sergey has a lovely hunting hound. Perhaps you should play with him sometime. He's wonderful. And then Arvo used to be a doctor, so we're just sort of interested in the case, and I'd like to just pray for her, make sure her soul and well-being are okay, administer any rights that she might have, because we just want to make sure the whole sort of matter is taken care of, and maybe it's just a matter of hysteria. Nothing more.
Give me a manipulation check to see how exactly he reacts to this, or if Dr. Norman reacts.
Am I any good at this manipulation?
You do have your +2 once per session.
Oh, I do.
Use it.
I have 0 manipulation. Oh my goodness. All right, so I just to use my +2, do I just go 1, 2 here and then roll?
Yeah, so well, you can do that. Alternatively, when you click on it, it will pop up a dialog box, and then if you put a 2 in that, pretty sure it pops up a dialog box. Yes, it does.
Okay, all right, we're going to do it, and then where's my dialog box here?
It might be behind your character sheet. That does happen sometimes.
Yeah, I had to move my sheet.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's so weird that it ends up behind the character sheet.
Oh, 2 successes.
Nice. He looks at all of you, Dr. Norman does, as he's ushering you into his office. And this is a cramped office with an oversized desk, books basically falling off the shelves and basically wedged in more than placed into their slots. But Dr. Norman says, well, if you think you could do some good for her, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to, Doctor. Sorry, not Doctor. Father. Please, if you just follow me, I'll show you to where she is. That being said, I must caution you. Mrs. von Korsling is in a very delicate state. She has made multiple attempts to escape, and if I had to place money on it, I'd say she's probably attempting to do so again as we speak. So be careful. We will be locking you in with her while you're talking to her. Just knock when you want to come out. It's just another precaution we must take. She's been rather desperate over the belief that she has had her child stolen.
Duly noted, good doctor. Thank you very much.
Yes. And Father, thank you for coming. That, not to speak bad of another person in your profession, but Father Cornelius, he indulges her more radical beliefs that some monster took her child, that it's all her fault for not having it, or having him, sorry. Shouldn't refer to a human as just an it. That's bad respect for me. But anyway, that having him stolen was her fault for not having it baptized earlier, or anything like that. It has been rather a deal, and do be careful you say. She is temperamental, but if you think you can help her recover, please, by all means.
I can assure you, there's nothing of the kind has happened. My friends are experts in matters like this. They assure you that he's probably just trying to stir up a story to get people to come in to the church and listen to the holy book and whatnot, the word of God. But my friends are here; they're very well versed in things like this, so they'll snuff out any sort of falsities and whatnot. But I appreciate it, Doctor. I leave the business to them. They do all of that.
You're quite wise, Father. You've actually hit the nail on the head. I didn't want to say it myself, but Father Cornelius has taken a bit of a pulpit against Colley Village and their heathenism, as he calls it. And that is part of what has me concerned in all this, since I do understand that Hugo spent quite a bit of time there, which makes him a decent target of all this. And Father Cornelius's crowd, most are rather reasonable, some of them they're rather dedicated to the cause. If you follow what I mean.
Understood.
Yes, thank you. But anyway, we are here. Here, let me open the door for you. And the door opens with a click of the key. Yep. And Dr. Norman announces, Agnes, you have a visitor, or visitors, I should say. You see a woman whose hair has grown ever so slightly untidy, but otherwise maintained decent health while here. As she gets up. Thank you, Doctor, she says in a cold, even tone. Yes, well, in you go. And Agnes, I'll see you in a few hours for our appointment. Certainly, Doctor. Yeah. So yeah, you will let
I,
in, the door locks behind you, and yeah, just knock to be let out.
I just sort of
So,
whisper over to Arvo, just see, there you are, sir. There's no need for skullduggery or legerdemain. You just sort of talk your way in there.
Yes, I see that perhaps your way is of great utility. I will remember
Yeah,
that.
you have your uses, Arvo. Don't downplay yourself at all.
Well, definitely a skilled tongue was far superior than a crowbar in this case.
I just put my finger to my nose and then remain quiet.
So
mhm.
let us speak with Agnes. Perhaps we can give her some comfort. It would be best not to get her worked up, but at the same time, to gain her trust, perhaps we must go along with her ruse or her thoughts that her child may have been substituted for an Agnes. We are friends. We have been to your home. Indeed, I have held your child. I am Dr. Lasco. Examined your child, and your fears are confirmed. This child is not normal. Tell me, who took your child, and how can we help you?
Rise remain cold, though you can see her melting, baking a little bit inside, as you have hit upon one of the things that really is precious to her and what she cares about, her child. As she says, do you really believe that, or are you just patronizing me, like Dr. Norman?
No, I am no ordinary doctor. You see, I have the sight, and my companion Sergey, he and I followed several tracks from your estate into the woods heading northeast. We believe that perhaps someone in Kali village may be responsible.
hmm Well, I don't know about Collie Village, though Father Cornelius says a lot about that, but I can tell you what I saw that night.
Yeah,
The thing that took my baby. It it was a woman, or at least it had the shape of a woman in its outline. Though as it well, I heard the window open. I thought that perhaps the Ano had left it open. It was a pleasant enough summer day before that. So as I felt a chill, went to close it. I heard something in there. And when I walked into the North V, I saw the woman like thing. Yeah, with red eyes. I couldn't make out any facial features. It was too dark, but I do remember those red eyes. The horns going over her tresses, and the tail as she it climbed through the window, like a spider onto the walls, and then picked up my child, replacing it with another. I thought it was simply a nightmare, but then I kept on seeing the differences, the way he smiled, the way he giggled, the he was growing unnaturally fast, and then I just knew it wasn't my child. The way it, he, I just knew. A mother knows these things.
there is no
The,
greater bond than that between a mother and a child, and I do not doubt your story that the child, if you do not recognize it as your own, it is not your own. This is through no defect of mind, but something has happened, and we would see an end to it. Tell me one thing. Your husband plays a musical instrument. Was this obtained before or after this incident at your home?
oh, he gained instrument 2 years ago in Collie Village.
Quite some
I
time
don't
ago.
know why.
And he obtained it from a woman, he said.
Yes, Lilo. I've never met her herself, but he's spoken well of her. Said that she was a very talented musician. I think she works. I think he mentioned that she works at the inn in Collie Village.
I would
What does
speak
she have anything to do with this?
well, I would speak with her because that musical instrument seems to charm the the child that lives at your home. Perhaps there is some connection there. Um, tell me,
Well,
have you had any visitors from Kali village in your home in the weeks before
no,
your child was taken?
no, never that I know of. Yeah, no, the only, well, so I know that the continent itself was lent to Hugo by that woman, Lilo, when he was struggling to learn about the local legends and other things that would help him with his research. I remember when he brought it home for time. I apologize. I shouldn't dismute my husband's name, but he did not play well at all. He's
Oh,
not much better in it.
he is quite
Yes,
talented now.
yes, he is. But the more time he spent with that instrument, he began to be wrapped up in it. And I mean, Edward always enjoyed it, though after when Hugo returned, Edward was never mesmerized it in the same way before he was taken, or the child that replaced. I'm sorry, it's difficult to speak of.
Yes.
Since I've always called both of them Edward and, well, you can see how that gets confusing. But yeah, no, I do want you to know that my husband, he has been gone quite a bit, and that I felt lonely. I know that probably a lot of scientific folks would say that that's the cause of all this. Me crying out for attention, but I guarantee you that's not it. Hugo is a good man. Uh, Maybe a little single-minded, a little obsessive at times, but he is a good man. And he does care for Edward.
It is my
But yes.
belief that you are both victims, that neither of you is to blame, but that you have been victimized by some fell being in Kali village. They tell me you are trying to escape here. I would
I am.
humbly ask that you draw no attention to yourself until we have discovered more information. Uh, it would be much better for all of us if you were to be patient.
You want me to be patient when my child is somewhere out there where held by some sort of creature?
Let us go in your stead. Rest and recover. You will need your strength soon.
Give me a manipulation or inspiration check to convince her.
This may not be easy, but I will do my best.
Can I assist him by yeah, I would like to also be like, yes, look, listen, this man has a hunting dog. He has the greatest hunting dog I have ever had the pleasure of putting eyes upon. He will sniff out any sort of creature, and all will be well. And you need rest, young lady.
Certainly.
Got a +1 to. Actually, I'm really good at manipulation, so this I've got a pretty good chance here. Oh, well, I made it. So yeah.
Yeah. She nods. Very well. If you think you can, I will sit still here in my little cell for 2 days. After that, if I hear nothing, I will begin to try and get out of here again. Since
Yeah.
it's
Yes, give us
intolerable to
2
believe
days.
that.
Because if you are to escape, then it may look poorly upon you and your husband. But if you have an alibi that you are here, let us go in your stead and rescue your child.
Very well. Very well. I'll give you time. Just make sure to keep me updated, okay?
Give me something, a way that something only a mother and child would know. What is something about Edward that we will be assured that it is he when we find him? Is there a birthmark, or is there a name that you call him that perhaps he will respond to?
There's nothing so formal like that. Well, he has the birthmark, but both of them do. So that isn't a good way of identifying one from the other.
Yes.
We've always called him Edward.
Okay.
But that being, when you tickle him, he'll always give a very particular laugh, a halting type laugh.
Excellent. I will bring you your child. We will see to it.
Thank you. I do appreciate what you've done, and I do swear to you, I am not crazy, though you probably still think I am, but you're my best chance.
I have seen many things in this land that would make anyone think they are crazy, and I know of a surety that you are not.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. Yes, and when you see Hugo, tell him that I do love him, that I appreciate him taking care of Edward at least his attempt to take care of Edward, so he can't really do it at the moment, but he's always trying, which I do appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway,
Well, rest now.
thank you for helping us.
Yes. We will return with your child.
I pray that you do.
Perhaps the priest here can give you some spiritual comfort before we leave.
Thank you, Otto. I'll like pray for her, whatever the proper prayer is. Read, memorize, probably say some like verses from scripture or something like that, something along those lines, and pray for her, try to calm her. And as Arlo said, try to convince her, like, or just reassure her, like, yeah, it would look bad on you if you tried to escape from here. So just rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And your character would definitely know all these things to begin with. So yeah, that wouldn't be any difficulty for you at all. Yeah. Any last questions before all of you leave Agnes?
None from us.
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
Questions.
Okay. Do we spend the night at Arnsberg, or do we head to Kali village? We did promise her 48 hours. We perhaps should waste no time.
Yeah, but by the same token, you very well could just go in the morning, since it's a 2-hour trip over to Kali village and back.
Oh, okay.
And it is getting later in the day.
Yeah, I think we would spend the night then. Maybe interesting to see what happens at night with the child.
Mm-hmm.
Arvo will suggest that as it is getting late and perhaps we need to provision ourselves for what lies ahead, we should just stay here with Hugo and let Hugo know what our intentions are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you arrive back at the mansion itself, T driving and dropping you off. You can see yourself in easily enough. Quite frankly, you need only follow the music to find Hugo and, by extension, Edward. Ano's off doing some chores. But yeah, anything you want to tell him in particular, or just that you'll be going off to Kali Village? Or any questions you want to ask, either.
I want to ask him about Lilo, who gave him this instrument. I have a suspicion that perhaps there is a connection there. Perhaps this was the woman that Agnes saw coming through the window, that maybe some deal was struck for this musical talent. Or perhaps it was just simply done out of spite. Maybe he angered someone in Kali village. But I want to question him gently about Lilo, about what he knows of the woman who loaned him this instrument and taught him how to play.
Yeah, and as you approach him, you do need to shake Hugo a little bit to actually get him out of his trance, and to focus on you and not the content and the music. As he looks up at you, blinking. Oh, my apologies. What were you saying? Lilo. Yes, Lilo. Yes. What do you want to know about her?
Well, how did you first meet, and was there any sort of agreement for the loan of this instrument and your training in how to play?
Question.
Well, yes, Lilo, I met her 2 years ago, soon before she lent me the instrument itself. That I was going around, sort of in the fashion that a madman would, look at all the creators. She noticed what I was doing and offered some assistance to help me get closer to the locals, learn their stories and their histories. so that I might complete my thesis. She's been very kind and helpful in the endeavor. And yes, she did teach me, though I've never quite met her level of skill with Consola. I've done what I can. Yes. And as for recompense, well, of course, she did request that I return the Consola. Uh, you see, there's a festival that they hold in the craters. Some members, or so I've been told, some members of the community, every full moon,
So
which,
you
if you
have
care,
not
is tomorrow.
returned this instrument.
Yes.
Surely it has gone missing if she requires it for the festivals. Indeed, there is one coming up tomorrow.
Yes, there is. I've been meaning to get to it. Well, the deal was that I would return it when I was done with my thesis. I've just been busy. I haven't quite got into handing it over yet.
Hmm.
I do intend to do so soon, once Agnes is in better health, of course. Since, I mean, it does help quite a bit with the little Edward here.
It does
No,
seem to
quite frankly,
soothe the
not so little.
child as though the child is hearing a familiar tune.
Yes, but it would take a bit more time for me to get another one. He starts making another excuse. As you begin to notice, there is a theme of excuses in all this.
Yep.
Basically, it's I can't because of this, I can't because of that, and so on and so forth. It tells you, yes, well, the deal was that I would play at one of their festivals, but I mean, really, you don't expect me to leave Edward that long. I mean, Agnes, she's been so terrified of him, and that it's driven her, well, in a not too healthy place, so to
Well,
speak.
why don't we go to the festival, you and Edward, and we can watch you perform at the festival? Surely that will be something pleasing for you as well as for the child.
What a good idea.
Would you accompany us to
Well,
the festival?
give me a manipulation check. You will gain a +2 on this, plus whatever you get from OPL helping you, because you are making a very good argument.
You got it.
Let's see. +3. By the skin of my teeth.
Indeed. He says, "Oh, well, yes, I suppose we could. If you wouldn't mind helping look over Edward, I guess we could. It is about time. I've been meaning to do this for quite a while."
Perhaps along on the journey you can tell us about your geologic discoveries.
Oh, yes, I'd love to. It is about passing. So apparently those, well, up there for the journey. Yep. I mean, I have a book on it too if you'd like to read it or take it with you. Yes, I should probably go to bed. He says, still holding on to the console as he leaves the room.
I think
Yeah,
perhaps
he turns in for the night. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to speak over you.
as I'm speaking to the rest of the party, I raise my suspicions that there is definitely a connection between this instrument and the abduction of his child, and perhaps we can right the situation in Kali village. But we must be careful because it could prove to be dangerous for everyone involved. I will ask if Sophia would like to sleep in the same room as the child, with her ties to the supernatural, perhaps. If something were to happen, that the child were to get up or move around, or heaven forbid, start speaking, we should have someone there to witness that. And it may be improper to have a man sleep in the room with the child.
Well, yes,
Agreed.
I would find that to be a very useful and good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Could use your talent as well.
Yes, so while I'm preparing for the night, maybe I will call upon my talent and see if I can make a connection with any sort of spirit that is possessing this child.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how does your talent is the automatic writing? So you like put down a
Yeah,
piece
this
of
would be
paper
inspiration.
and a pen and just start scrawling and wait for a spirit to take command of your hand and write something. You get a
Yeah. Oh, as a side note, so as you do all go to sleep, you will get the long rest. I'll quickly pull up the healing handout.
Yeah.
1 second. There it is, physical healing. So yeah. And yeah, so rest scene, so yeah, you take the entire scene, you'll recover 2 conditions, which I think is more than anyone has at the moment.
I think I've got one, and I think maybe Sergey has one. No, probably just me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll remove that condition.
But yeah, if you wouldn't mind rolling for me, yeah, for the inspiration check to try and see and bring out any ghosts that might be here.
You use your typewriter, but you get a bonus. Can you do automatic typing?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that'd be how it works.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Good
So,
job.
yeah, the truth is, there's no real ghost in the house itself. The baby is not, well, possessed is the wrong word. As you begin to type, watching the infant, and the infant watches you as it shifts its shape here and there, more playing with you than anything else. The as it just continues to watch. It goes from monstrous forms to different humanoid forms. And if you call anyone else to this, then you'll end up just seeing it revert back to with the form little Edward had to begin with. Again, a little bigger than you'd expect, or than the actual one probably is. So yeah, this is absolutely a changeling, and it's absolutely a creature. And in all this, it brings back a recollection of memory. So this is a changeling. Yeah, they are troll children, or fey children, if you're going for more English folklore, that are take that replace the originals. In this case, they're not actually malicious. They really are just part of a deal, a punishment imposed by the trolls in order to get the human involved to repay what they owe. Though more frequently than not, as the human parents eventually figure out that a changeling is a changeling, it's not uncommon for what follows to not be particularly pleasant. Some are fully accepting, some are not so much. It really varies case by case.
So maybe
But
there's a
the human
chance.
child would be perfectly healthy and sound. As the children, once returned, have always been rather healthy, yet, albeit troll food does tend to be a little extra nutritious, so they tend to be a little extra tall and a little extra well built.
But you're saying that there is a chance that supposing this is tied up to the musical instrument, if we return it, there's a good chance they will return the child unharmed, or there's a good chance that there will be trouble.
There's a good chance that they will just return the child unharmed.
Good.
Well, I'm glad I didn't witness that child going through transformations.
Right.
Yeah, actually, that's right. Do me a favor, give me a fear test. So that's going to be either logic or empathy, just a straight attribute, no skill involved. Because you are seeing this child transforming, and that is a little terrifying. Or at least unnatural.
So
And yeah,
maybe
this is just field 1, so you only need 1 success to negate all the conditions that would give you. Some creatures have fear 2 or 3, which would give you 2 to 3 conditions if you get no successes.
one success.
Okay. Yeah, so
Nice.
as a whole, well, I mean, it's definitely odd, but you're not freaking out over it. It doesn't terrify you by any means, as you're like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on now.
Yeah, you've read about
A
this
little
in your
better.
books, probably.
Yeah, I've studied these things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and then you go to bed, and yes, everyone will remove their conditions. As a new day dawns, a rooster out in the courtyard begins to crow. No. Is it? Do they crow or do they something else? I'm forgetting the word.
I think they crow.
Roosters?
Yeah. I know the onomatopoeia is cock-a-doodle-doo, but I'm trying to remember if there's a word other than crow for it. I don't think that's quite right. Hmm.
I think crow sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I could just be off and misremembering in the wrong direction.
Well, as long as
Oh,
this
that's
rooster's not speaking, Swedish or something, I think we're okay.
Hmm. Well, who's to say it's not going fish? Anyway. Yeah, you all get up. Hugo, you see him, and funny thing, like, you realize the instruments, since you mentioned things like an interest in it, hasn't been more than 5 feet from his side all night. But yeah, you eat breakfast, nice hearty thing, and then you begin on the road unless you want to get something in town or do something else.
Well, that morning, Sergey is going to perhaps get some of the like the clothes the changeling has been wearing, and just get Pluto accustomed to the scent of the changeling or the trolls.
Mm-hmm.
Does Hugo seem excited or eager to go to this festival and perform, or does he seem very nervous and cautious?
He seems nervous. Basically, if you've seen the Lord of the Rings, the movies, think of like a pretty toned down version of Gollum giving up the ring to someone else.
Ah, he looks like Smeagol anyway, so.
A little bit.
So yeah, this may prove difficult to return the instrument. I figure there's no way he's going to just let us take it, so I think we have to take it with him.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So I don't think we will tell him our plan, because he certainly won't go along with that. I'm sure he doesn't want to give up that instrument. But if we can trick him into getting it there and maybe confronting him, we've got a pretty good chance. And we are taking Eddard with us, I believe. That way we can just swap this troll baby for his real baby and hopefully make everything right again.
Yeah, absolutely. And as the Hugo plays the instrument while you ride, Edward, or the changeling, if you will, is very facile, docile, peaceful, no crying, nothing else. And well, realistically, it is like the ideal version of a baby. Except, maybe a little large. But yeah, it's a 2-hour ride to Kali Village. As you eventually arrive there, probably when it's getting to be a bit before noon, let's say 10, 11 o'clock.
And what time does the festival start?
So that would be at night, and Hugo could tell you this easily enough. Think more, well, really when the moon comes up is when it begins. And according to Hugo, he'd say, well, according to what I've heard from Lilo, they spend most of the night eating, drinking, enjoying the moon, talking amongst each other, dancing, playing music, and all that.
Well, let us go and get a room at the inn so we have a place to stay, and perhaps we can ask the whereabouts of Lilo.
Oh, she'd be working as a waitress. And yeah, as you actually open the door, you will see a woman. Let me quickly bring up said token. Am I blind? Yes, I am blind.
Ah, there it is.
You know that she looks relatively young, probably mid-20s, despite the fact that she's known him for a fair bit of time, so you would have expected her to be slightly older,
Right.
if not quite a bit. And Lilo turns on a dime, playing her hands before putting them down on a table in front of a pair of customers. Ah, Hugo, it's so good to see you again. Is there anything I can do for you?
A table and a plate of your finest cheese and bread, please. And
Oh,
then,
of course,
if you have a
please
moment,
sit here. She says, knocking on the table herself. How about the rest of you? Anything I can get for you? We currently have some sauerkraut that we've just made. Quite excellent, if I say so myself. Well, an old family recipe, passed down, been around for thousands of years.
yeah.
Alternatively, we got some schnitzel, if you'd like that, or perhaps some sausage, or a salad. Nothing wrong with salad. Nice and healthy.
Well, that's a whole other discussion for a whole other day. But this sausage and sauerkraut sounds lovely. A hearty meal
Indeed.
for a full day of merrymaking.
Of course, of course. Give me a second, I'll have our cook whip it up for you.
And then,
Yeah,
if you have
just
a
give me a
moment, could you speak with us? How long since you and Hugo have spoken? Clearly, you know this man.
well, let me get that rung in for you, and then I'll be right back. I've got a few customers' orders to get.
Yes, of course.
Just 1 second, she says, with a knowing smile on her face. And yeah, she quickly does it. She's very efficient in everything she does. Practice movements, very skilled as being a waitress, getting people their room keys and all that. Before she returns to you, and she leans on one of the untaken chairs and says, "So, you want to know about me and Hugo? I'm surprised he didn't just ask Hugo himself. You can tell all of them, right? You? Yes, of course I have, and I did.
Well,
So,
he
what else did
told
you
us that
want?
you taught him how to play this wonderful instrument.
Yes. I thought he had a potential for it, so I decided to introduce him. I dare say that I was rather correct, wouldn't you?
Oh yes, he is quite good, quite skilled. He says he cannot hold a candle to your technique.
I'm flattered. I'm flattered. I assume that you're all here for our little festival tonight.
Yes, we are. And in fact, I wish to offer apologies for Hugo. Only yesterday mentioned that he has had this instrument in his care for far too long, and this is your property. And if you will beg our pardons, perhaps after the festival we can return this to its rightful owner. And I will look
Mhm.
at Hugo and give him kind of a death stare that he had better not reject this.
Mhm. Yeah. So technically, the skill you use for this is manipulation. I do just for fun. I want to see how well you do.
Okay.
Though, quite frankly, if you have another skill that you think would be more useful or appropriate for this, feel free to use that.
I think
Since
I
this
am
is
actually
like
really good at manipulation, and I'm going to
okay.
use my +2 bonus for the session on this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now watch me miss. Oh,
No, you
I
succeeded.
made it.
Yeah, that'll be a carry +1 to something else.
Yeah.
I'll let you decide when it gets used, and
Yeah.
this could be for you or someone else. But you stare at him, and he turtles up a little bit. Yes, and says, "Yes, I would love to play at your festival and see it tonight. I've always been meaning to go. Of course you have, Hugo." Well, again, the knowing smile out of Lilo, as she says that. Says, "Well, I assume that the rest of you will be there too, including your child. Um, you mean to get to know him a little better."
Yes, but perhaps you'd like to meet this child. Have you met Eddard? And maybe if Sophia is holding the baby, we pull back the blanket or the covering to show Lilo the baby. And is there any recognition from this baby to Lilo?
Give me an observation roll to see this. As Lila, what she does is she kneels down to the child so that they're eye level, stroking the head. The child coos in response. You can't tell if they know each other or if Lilo's just particularly good with children or something. He seems like the type that might be, after all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see that he's grown rather large, rather healthy. I'm glad.
While she's around the table, Lilo, does Pluto, does he seem to be notice their scent from when I had
Oh yeah,
accustomed him to the kind of the troll, the changeling scent?
that is correct.
He's on point. Hmm.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Pluto would notice that. She is the one who originally took the child and replaced him.
I'll kind of quietly mention to Arvo that Pluto has recognized their scent, and this is most certainly the Vaesen behind the switching of the child.
Yes, I share your suspicions. Uh, perhaps we should speak to Lilo about the return of the instrument for the return of the child. Um, it may be best to do it tonight at the festival, where perhaps others like Lilo can see that amends have been made. Um, we just need to be certain that Hugo does not panic or become violent, as he might to lose this wonderful instrument, this obsession of his.
And once Lilo has left the table, I'll mention this also to Earl and Sophia.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and she goes back to waitressing. She gets you room keys and all that. And yeah, unless you have any other need of Lilo, she will just wish you a good day and look forward to seeing you during their festival tonight. And remind Hugo that he's a guest of honor of sorts, that he'll be playing for them.
Do any of the townspeople seem to recognize Hugo or Eddard? Do they seem to give them any undue attention?
Edward, no, but Hugo, yes. He knows basically everyone in town. He's talked to them, he's played for them, played with them. Yeah, since really the consulate was his key into getting to know all of these people. So yeah, he's very well known.
I think I'll spend a great deal of the afternoon with Hugo, kind of pumping him up, getting him excited for this festival, telling him how wonderful he's going to play, how great the music will be, how enchanted everyone will be by his playing, and so on. Just doing my best to motivate him, get him in the right frame of mind, so that when we do make the switch, he's in a positive state and not a state of panic or fear.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, give me an inspiration check, just to see how well you do.
Oh boy, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna push this roll because this is important to me.
Absolutely.
Do that again. Oh, okay.
Oh, so the first round of it, I mean, this takes quite a bit of working on him through the entirety of the day, to be honest with you. But you're able to convince Hugo that it will be good. He will be able to solve everything. How would you tell him about what's going on? Since I know you've been hiding quite a bit of it from him. You tell him.
I'm going to try and keep it hidden if I can. I'm just going to reassure him that his playing tonight will prove a great boon for himself and for his family, and that even his wife, this is an opportunity to help make his wife whole and to restore her to sanity, basically. It all rides upon what he does tonight, his performance tonight.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you think so, and you are the expert in this after all, Hugo says, then I suppose it must be true enough. After all, maybe Lilo knows how she's been able to help me so much so far. And he looks at the consular. I mean, perhaps I've been too obsessed with my own studies, my music, and other things.
Perhaps
Perhaps
it
it
is
is time
time to
that
turn
I
your attention to
leave
your
hearts
child.
behind.
Perhaps it is time to direct your attention towards your child and wife.
Yes, I suppose it must be.
But let us make great merrymaking tonight. Wonderful music, and fill the air with the sounds of music.
Yes, let's do that. Yes, the celebration itself should be in one of the cars. I think the North Crater. Yes. I mean, always had to see the consulate go, if you want to know the truth. It's been with me for years now. I've also grown to love the place. Well, I've enjoyed Othel quite a bit, my time here. Yes, for my sake. Yeah. He says, with a smile, feeling a little more buoyed. Even if he's never quite. And he still has a grip on it, but he's loosening his grip on the consola, so to speak.
I will place a reassuring hand upon his shoulder uh, in an unspoken gesture that he is doing the right thing and he's on the right path.
Thank you. Thank you, Arvo. I appreciate you saying so.
Yes, but now let us eat of this wonderful sauerkraut and sausages. Lilo, over here.
Yes,
The food is mine. Here, yes, yes.
Oh yeah, she delivers everything on time. It's warm. It smells good. It tastes delicious. Just the right amount of acidity to sauerkraut. The sausages are nicely spiced, very richly done. So just a little bit of a kick to them with a sweet undertone. It's just very, very nice. No clue how they did it, but they're good at what they do.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you all eat. Yeah, anything else you do before night comes and you head off to the festival?
I think we're good.
Mm-hmm. Nice, thank you. So yeah, night dawns as the moon begins to rise. The full moon rises in the sky. All of you will follow Hugo's lead towards the north of the crater. He's intimately familiar with the landscape, a thin trail leading to it. As you get closer to it, Hugo looks almost in astonishment, as from the crater itself you see a dim light coming, campfires, things like that, but that's not what he's reacting to as he crests the side of it. As he sees a number of trees, a small lake in the middle of it, reflecting the moon, and he pauses as he's looking down at all this, as if something is wrong, as if he's looking at some sort of mirage.
Hugo, good man. What's eating you?
Sorry. There shouldn't be anything really living in this crater, if you want to know the truth. Last time I was here, there wasn't really anything. Just dry dirt and whatnot. Oh.
There's nothing living here. Don't be silly.
Perhaps it's my imagination. You can see the veritable forest, the lake and all that, right? Or is it just me?
You see the what?
So you see in the middle of this crater that it's not barren or dead or anything like that, but instead this is a very vibrant place with a lake in the middle reflecting the moon and trees surrounding it. And in the middle of it, next to the lake itself, you see a great, bonfire, if you will, as people feast and eat, though you only see their silhouettes in the distance.
But he seems like a barren...
Sergei is a hound here. He would sniff out anything like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't really need to sniff that. You can just see it as you press the creator. Since Hugo's pointed, it's just very different than how he knows it to be.
So does Pluto, does he seem to be agitated by any sort of sense while we're entering this crater area?
Pluto doesn't seem to be particularly off though as a roast boar, the scent of a roast boar comes wafting to you, but he does begin to pant, salivating. And as you get closer, you can hear the music being played, to see the people dancing in better relief. They look human, or mostly human. Some of them have, if you look closely within the dark and the harsh shadows cast by the flame, different features, some horns, some scars, some eyes or a tail, some little tell to all of them, marking them as something other than human trolls. But putting, for at least your sake, a good enough show of being human. And as you get closer, Lilo breaks away from them, still wearing her dress with a smile, and she looks human enough. Nothing you've noticed about her seems off, as she gives you a smile. Look, Hugo, it's so good to see you. Please, come this way, you're the guest of honor. We'd love for you to play for us.
Arvo
Can I
will
see that
give him
little Edward is here too?
an encouraging hand and kind of help him on his way.
Of course, Hugo says, picking up his speed a little bit more.
There's
Mm-hmm.
you guys keep moving. I'm just thinking, right? There's this is like an outdoors festival stage setting, right? Like an open amphitheater sort of thing.
That's how the crater is being used, but there's no staging or anything man-made in here.
Okay. And circa how many people are here?
There's probably a dozen, maybe 24 at most.
And do all of them seem to have the troll-like features?
Certainly some of them have more striking features. You expect most of them to be trolls.
So is much of the village, does it seem like this is the entire village out here?
Oh, no. This is just a small portion of the village. Just a handful of people from it. Since you probably have closer to 80, 100 people in the village. Maybe more.
Okay. Do we see any other humans out here?
They're certainly trying to look human. And maybe could spot a human amongst them if you really tried. But then again, remember, the trolls can hide themselves as humans or pass themselves off. Lilo, for example, doesn't look like a troll, not unless she wants to.
And I would imagine most of the people in the village do not have the sight, and so they wouldn't see this if they were out here anyway. They would just see us.
Yeah. Yeah, but you guide Hugo along as he begins to play the contra, and it is, as you remember it, breathtaking. As he begins to play with other musicians, a woman sings some old folk tune that you don't quite understand, a bit archaic, if not a different language altogether. And as that's happening, you see Lilo on the side, carrying a baby, similar to the Edward you know, but a bit smaller. The size that he should be, or at least would be.
I will motion to Sophia, who I assume is holding the baby, to go and make the exchange.
Yes.
Sophia will approach Lilo and maybe make the exchange.
Lilo looks at you. I apologize. That's not quite how this works. I need the consular back before that I can give you back the baby. Old rules and whatnot, written centuries ago, even before I was born. But that has been a while. I do apologize for the inconvenience of it. But traditions are important to us in our trollcraft.
I understand.
It's how it's the rules we set, so to speak. and all magic has rules. It just doesn't pretend to have it every now and again.
Well, at the termination of the song, we will ask Hugo to return the instrument. And if he does not, we will see that it is returned nonetheless.
Thank you. I do apologize that you have to go through the extra lengths, particularly since we're causing some of the trouble for you. And as the song ends, Hugo looks at the consola. Do me a favor, give him an extra nudge. See if he's able to just hand it over without creating too much of a fuss.
Yeah, I'm going to motion to him. In fact, I'll hold out my hand for him to give me the instrument, as though, Hugo, we made an agreement.
He looks at it, he clutches tight, or really, this is a manipulation roll, or inspiration roll with +3 due to your previous checks.
And could Sergey help him with that roll? Just he's going to stand back there, kind of looking less friendly, more threatening, kind of gripping his hunting rifle.
Certainly.
And what was the plus you had said?
+3, because that's what you got for successes on previous checks I've had you made.
Perfect. I should get this. Oh, barely.
He looks at it, and you can see that it pains him a fair deal, but he hands it over. And the child, the changeling pretending to be Edward, jumps out of Sophia's hands, beginning to walk over to its compatriots. Amy still remains a child, though it walks over to another woman, a woman that has similar features as it lets its disguise go. And she picks it up. And as Hugo hands over the consola, Lilo gives you the child.
And I will return the kotla to Lilo with our apologies for the delay in its return.
Certainly. And our apologies for the trouble that we have caused in all this. It is not our goal to be cruel or mean or cause any hardship, but a deal has been struck and it must be followed. Tragic though it might be at times.
Have we met the bounds
enjoy
of the
yourselves. Yes. Please enjoy yourself while you're here. We have nothing against any of you.
I sense no ill will from you or your people.
Certainly.
But know that you have made a woman very pleased this night. Hugo's wife will be overjoyed at the return of her child. And thank you for treating the child with respect and keeping up its care and feeding and well-being.
Oh, well, he hasn't been too much trouble. No more than the other changeling or children that we've had in our care.
I won't go there. There's maybe other people's kids here. I will do my best to be encouraging to Hugo. In fact, I'll bring Eddard over to Hugo and tell him that he has seen to the return of his child, and his family will be made whole again. Tomorrow we will return back and see that Agnes hears of the good news, and perhaps her mental state will improve drastically, and he can return to a state of peace and return to his studies.
Totally. I wish you all the best. I say I pray for you, but I'm not exactly a fan of your religion. It's not quite us, so to speak.
Well, perhaps
all gods are false gods.
Perhaps you are
I used to be one.
Than the religion of man as well.
Yes, well, please make yourselves merry, enjoy your time here, and be on your way in the morning as if it was all a dream. And yeah. I mean, is there anything else you do or say or think during the scene before you head on back to the inn, probably getting closer to dawn that is necessarily healthy for you? And then just taking the ride back with Teach driving you all the way to Arnsburg, where, well, Agnes will be released on Hugo's say-so.
I would want to stay at least for a day and ensure that there is peace and harmony in their home, that Agnes um, is at peace with what has happened. We would not see any revenge brought against the troll folk of Kali Village.
From Hugo, no, nothing of the sort. He's happy to have his family back together again, and there's obviously a hole in his heart where the Consola is or was. And as the Agnes is brought home, probably actually you grabbed on your way through town, to be honest with you, as it's one of Hugo's priorities here. We're making for, I imagine, a rather crowded carriage at this point, since you've got, what, 6 people and a baby in it?
Yep.
Yeah, and basically all stuffed on top of each other at this point. They're going to ask, Hugo will ask, since he doesn't really love Father Cornelius, and Maze might be sliced love to him, he's going to ask Oral to baptize their child.
Certainly, I would be absolutely honored.
Yes, and as the ceremony is performed, you see Agnes begin to tear up, but knowing that with a baptized child, it couldn't be some devil spawn or changeling or anything like that. That it is truly her child, a human child that they have once again. And she becomes ever so more sure in her assessment in this as she watches Edward's emotions, how he reacts to things, the way he giggles. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys do? Since obviously Father Cornelius remains raging against the entirety of Kali Village, the heathen there and their old religion. Well, heretic religion is probably how he phrases it. But he doesn't whip up a mob like some versions of this one does.
Right. Well, Arvo is content knowing that the people of Kali Village can defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That there is no need for them to fear. They have been here long before man and will continue to be here long after we are gone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. So, is there anything anyone else would like to do as this adventure winds down before you head on off to your next adventure, wherever that might be?
Arvo is content.
I think Earl would write a letter to the church about Father Cornelius's
well done.
inability to conduct himself in this small town.
Yes, zealotry would probably be a good phrase for it. Yeah, absolutely. And you're able to get him in a fair bit of hot water with that. Not excommunicated, not that far, but probably reprimanded. Or if you're more familiar with religion, please give me the correct word for it, because I do not know what they would be. I only have guesses from what I've heard in history class.
I think that's fine. Like, I'm not trying to get him kicked out or anything, but I'm trying to get him, like, careful.
Yeah, we don't
do
want
that.
him burned at the stake. Or...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Sergei,
Yeah, the truth
and,
is...
knowing that these Vaesen aren't malicious, and that's the only thing he would be troubled with. So now that he's determined that they don't mean any true harm, he's satisfied with our current state.
And Sophia?
Sophia, of course, will write about this whole ordeal and ensure that the reputation of the family has been restored.
What about the secrecy of the people of Kali Village? You ensure that as well?
Oh, yes, of course. I want to protect the Vaesen of this village, as I have a close connection to them.
Absolutely.
And I think at the end, Arvo will kind of nudge Sergei. So, how do you feel about hunting a werewolf? And that would be where Arvo would leave it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. If no one has anything else that your characters do, you continue on to your next adventure, hunting werewolves and other things and other rumors you find across Scandinavia. And yeah, it just continues on like that. So yeah, and that's where it ends. If no one has anything else to add, or any questions, comments, thoughts.
No, that
That
was
was
great.
fun.
That was a lot
Thank
of
you.
fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks for
Yeah,
letting me
cool.
play with y'all.
Yeah,
Appreciate
it was
Mhm.
fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you everyone for coming.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm glad. This is honestly a pretty peaceful adventure. No one has actually ever. Well, sorry, no. People have gotten into fights with Hugo at the end of this adventure.
That I could see.
Yeah, since yeah, if you weren't being so cautious with him, I actually would have had him go with the gun. I mean, you would have had a chance to spot it with a vigilance check, but there are versions of the adventure where he does definitely go with the gun, and he is a lot more forceful with it all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Arvo was considering that we may have to resort to violence to get this baby returned.
Mm, that is true. Yeah, but no, you guys did really well. I love the role playing. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. hmm Yeah. Yeah, though I one good thought I had about this was the fact that it really isn't a combat intensive, and it's not horror with a capital H, which I know that was something that was being sought out, and I knew this wasn't exactly maybe the best fit for that. So that was one concern I had. If you're looking for that, if you're looking for something that where people are likely to die, then Silver, what is it? Silver in the Sea? Let me just
Oh
check
yeah.
the name since I have it. Yeah, the Silver of the Sea, yeah, the good option, a Wicked Secret. You're not super likely for combat in the Night's Hour, in my experience, but that's another fun one, though it's quite different, and it does actually have a number of bodies involved.
Oh, nice.
hmm
Yeah,
Yeah, so those are.
this was great
Mhm.
fun. It was, like I say, we were new to the system, so it was nice to be able to kind of familiarize ourselves with how the system works. And I think we did. Combat would basically be the same rolls, and damage would just be conditions. Correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, if
Okay.
you want to see the handout for that, here's the combat overview. And yeah, basically you have a number of things you can do. But overall, yeah, it's just weapon damage. Each damage that gets through armor would create a condition for an individual. And you roll a number of dice equal to armor. Or no, am I thinking I might be thinking armor is not really a thing to begin here. I'll begin with here. So the one thing I should mention is that with combat in the system, it's a very quick downward spiral unless you have a high combat rating to begin with, just due to how D6 dice roll systems go. And for every condition you get, that's a -1. And once you have, well, yeah, so each one's going to just eat into your ability to actually fight back quite significantly. That's what I was trying to point out. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we had a great time. Thank you so much for
hmm
putting this together, and we'll be sure to leave a good review and
Thank you.
hopefully play with you again sometime.
Oh yeah, totally. Please do. I really enjoy seeing players come back, and yeah, and thank you for coming and playing with me. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, if there's nothing else, I won't hold you any longer. Have a good night, or whatever time of day it might be for you. I suppose.
Mid-afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah,
Take care.
Thank you, everybody. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
yeah. You too. Thank you.